Hey, good morning, everybody. Give me a second here. Got YouTube issues. Okay, should be okay. You have to register every day. No, Robert, you don't have to register every day. We'll double check that, but no, you should not have to register every day. All right. It shouldn't be, but I don't know. I think everyone would have said something if that was the case, but we can take a look. Not too much moving here this morning. Maybe that's a good thing. All right. So trend analysis, downtrend. Some things moved up enough to turn the trend at least sideways, but um, most things are still in downtrends, multiple time frames um, at this initial resistance. So the one of the concepts when we talk about is retracements, and while it's nothing to do with Fibonacci, it's just common sense. If something goes from a low point to a high point, it's gotten to resistance, it showed some type of strength. Now, as you know, we were hopeful a week ago that this breakdown under this support area, these little bars here going sideways, those bottoming tail bars, would result in a retest of the lows. That didn't happen. So we have a higher low, higher pivot low, and we're at this resistance. Now, the question is, can this continue up into this next resistance area and the declining 50, give or take, somewhere in here? So a go nowhere kind of a day today. We don't know if that'll happen, but if it can go sideways, that's a concept. That would be a positive, initial positive piece of information based on the price action going sideways at resistance, a pivot high. A correction bar, a little breakdown under a bar or two and flip back up would be fantastic and give us greater confidence that prices could go up and not have, you never know, but not have the potential to have a little breakout failure because of the proximity to this resistance. So we'll wait and see. We always go look at the 65-minute chart. So far, going sideways and creating a little support point right there. Buyers pulled back. This little congestion right there typically happens where it aligns with this resistance area. So this is really the same thing on a smaller time frame. What I was talking about here, what is the reaction going to be to that resistance? So as this moved up and you had this little jiggling around, let's open that up a little bit. This little jiggling around, it was acting positively. It wasn't retracing back down again. And so now retest, resistance is close, higher low. So building a base, just common sense kind of stuff. Support, resistance, sideways, trend, so on and so forth, applying to a smaller time frame. So nothing going on there for the most part. Hughes cleared the high. Next resistance showed a little relative strength. It didn't come down to that pivot. And this exceeded that one. So a little relative strength, but building a support area as well. A little trading range going on. So hesitancy after the move up. So far, everything's fine. Russell lagging. Kind of a wide sideways consolidation there. Um, Duplicate that. And coming up there. So we want to watch this to see, does it continue to hold here? So obviously this day is just starting. We don't like to see too many days. Right? So this is what I'm talking about, like a correction bar. Like that bar, it took out the prior bar's low, and now it's consolidating after the high. So bullish price action. And so if this could clear these highs, potential to move up. And so I always like to look at the smaller time frame to get a clearer look at the resistance. And just turn this to a, let's just put it on a 90-minute chart for the moment, just a little bit more data. So clearing this, and so see how this it whipped up and back down again? It's kind of what I refer to as neutralizing an area since it traded above and below, kind of been used up where it broke out and failed and testing the support, breaking down below that support. So there is potential for a nice sizable move in a short term if it can clear those highs. So a lot of ifs because nothing's happening here. The Dow has been lagging. That could be another catch-up kind of situation. These lines are from last week where we talked about um, like the supply getting tighter or lower and demand increasing, but just kind of going sideways at resistance, a similar pattern. And, this moving up a little bit here this morning, but also there's your trading range. Not much happening. Bitcoin outperformed last week. It cleared that resistance. It's up at the next resistance. Just another little trading range going on here this morning, continuing from yesterday. And several days going sideways. Maybe see if you can get up to 100,000 this week. A lot of things that have somewhat similar patterns like this, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday, a breakdown below that on a closing basis kind of negates the short-term bullish bias that things could go higher. Something to keep an eye on. Interest rates are up a little bit. I had given up on trying to call exact bottoms. Well, that's a good thing, Robert. When the word exact does not belong in what we do, other than for the most esteemed YouTube gurus that have the most clear crystal ball. Exactness is a trap for traders. Think of areas. Think of applying bar by bar analysis to an area, and you'll get closer to reliability in what you look for. Yet the banks want their money to the penny. Absolutely. Right. All right. So interest rates not really doing much. They're up a little bit, just chopping around here. We want to see whether they break lower or start going higher. So no matter where we look, there's really not much of anything going on here this morning. Waiting for more news. Of course, earnings. Transport's not doing anything, so no clues there. The FANG stocks, and then we'll get to SPX. So Apple is on Thursday, right, toward the end of the week there. And as we look at these, we look around, downtrend, Microsoft, sideways, right? This is your major resistance, the lower low, and the deep move up, higher low. So just a wide sideways range. That's not attractive. So Wednesday, NVIDIA's already out, downtrend. Amazon is on Tuesday, coming up to resistance. We see all of these are either at or coming up to resistance. Maybe a pattern like Amazon could, let's see where it is here this morning. It's just whipping around here, not much going on there. Could play, pushing up, not really catch up because all of these, other than playing catch up to Netflix, yeah. These consolidations could move up toward the declining 50 and this resistance area ahead of the earnings. Well, this is only till tomorrow, so we'll see how today unfolds. Google gapped up on earnings, and so, sizable gap up. So that was sold into. Overall constructive, building a base, even though it's in a downtrend. Meta has been an underperformer, and see if anything's going on here with that. META. It's actually up a little bit. 556, 57. Um, so, it's got to get through 560, but gapping up a little bit, a little relative strength. So not much going on there either. Tesla, top of the trading range. Costco is just on one of my on this page here. This is going to report on Tuesday, but just this is what we kind of refer to as a mess: overlapping bars, intersecting moving averages, and so on. All right. Internals. This is a positive, meaning look at that spike higher in the breadth gauge from 0 to above 200. For that to happen in a couple of days, historically, is a positive event. Now it's at an extreme, and this was very extreme for sentiment, and it's neutral. So we don't have any signal, so to speak, from this. Many times this pulls back from reaching an extreme like that. But when you see this breadth gauge spike vertically almost in a couple of days, it's a positive event. All right. Let's transports, see the weekly chart down there at support. And let's see where the spiders are. We'll hand it over to Dan. So this marginally cleared that pivot high. So a mild positive within this downtrend. Many times this should follow through. And this was my thought over the weekend was, with, the earnings coming Tuesday, today possibly could be a continuation day. And, could it push up into this resistance area, today, and then we'll see what occurs tomorrow with those earnings reports and so on. So this came off of the low here, and now it's I guess unchanged, just slightly positive. Well, you can see the ES there, and the NQs, the futures are slightly positive. So up at resistance, take note of where that is. We go to SPX to see where that is, since we don't see anything pre-market. So right here, give or take. The ranges have contracted considerably since there's wildness over here. And this 5-day moving average of the close gives us kind of a rough guesstimate as to what an extreme would be on any given day, barring any news events. 5,400. Wow, that came up a lot. So it's at a whole number. So this is, when you line up with is enough premium, if you go wide, you do something. So there's a large open interest in puts and calls here if you go out pretty far, relatively far out. So that is a major, major, major number, right? Whole number, large open interest there in alignment with a support area. So Thursday's bar cannot be violated on a closing basis. It shouldn't even be tested, just based on the strength of this move and the gap up, what occurred last week. And above another whole number, that's good. Well, that didn't move up as much, so there isn't that kind of enthusiasm on the put side. So above a whole number within striking range. So at least it's above here. So what we would look for every day, what we would look for is to fade a move, meaning we have some strength or some weakness, and then a pattern on a 5-minute chart, some kind of tick extreme, breakdown failures, breakout failures, some kind of pattern to suggest that we've got at least a short-term reversal point, and then see what the premium is relative to our extremes. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, the markets were down when I woke up and then slowly turned their way back up. I have a lot of alarms going off now. So let's take a look at those first. A couple of earnings trades here. Not many today, but yeah, I heard it's going to be the heaviest week so far. All right, alarms. Rocket Lab. Bought this on Friday. Gapping up, looks good. And Pelletier. We bought this on Wednesday. Alex. Remember I said target 112 to 115. There you go. That's that's a beautiful pattern. And I remember when it rallied up here to resistance, I clearly said I wanted to bobble around here at resistance to prove that it won't retrace much. And then here's the big void. Tesla we bought on Friday. We sold a third lot into strength and then legged into covered call. If you have 100 shares, that is. Nice gap up, relative strength. Look at this 15-minute pattern. Looks fantastic. This is power. And this is bullish pre-market. Capping up, coming in above the 20. IWM. Alarm went off. We're going to do put spread. Rectify, we looked at Carvana. Put spread idea. It's up a lot, so I would never dream of buying this thing. But a put spread under Thursday. That's all it is. Triple D. Bat21 gave this one to me. Now, it's what I call a potential bottoming pattern. So I'm going to start watching it. Why do I say potential and not definite? Well, because many reasons. Look at the moving averages. All three of them are friggin' down. Still lower lows, lower highs. But why do I say potential? Well, because it made a new low. Didn't go very far. Now it's going sideways. You got to climb on the weekly, retest, possible new low reversal. But I need more information. So ideally, he'll bobble around until Friday. Give us 5 more bars, and then we can just buy a breakout. Groupon came from one of you in the room last week. Now, they're all bullish, daily, weekly, monthly. But my only concern is the 20 is far from the 50, far from the 200. So visually, that's telling me that if you took the candles off, and look how they were all converging here. If I had a multiple choice quiz for you, the proper answer would be, without looking at the candles, the proper answer would be this thing had an igniting move, still bullish, but extended. So choice whatever, B. That's the answer. I mean, look at this. Bullish weekly, bullish monthly. So I think we were going to do a half lot. Marriott, my up alarm went off. This is a put spread idea under Thursday's low. Don't like it as a directional. There's too much junk there to the left. But we actually have a ton of ideas this weekend. Sometimes we're like last weekend, we were scratching our head trying to come up with good ideas. And then we won't give junk patterns. We'll just say we don't, we only have 4 ideas this week. Whereas this weekend, let me take a quick little glance. The advisory, it looks like we have about 10 or 9, whatever. Credit spreads, a dozen. So got plenty of ideas. That looks like all my alarms. All right, let's go to earnings here real quick. FMX, it's up a lot, it's strong, but no pattern. Pizza Hut. I have this as a call spread idea. It's gapping down, so 30-minute low. And I kind of remember he's spreading typically. But we'll come back to him. This thing gapping down, 15 bucks, bearish. It's actually a condor setup. If there was anything at 14 and 1650, the way it's gapping right in the middle. But I got no interest in it. Charlie X-ray opening up a little bit, no pattern. BKU, no pattern, and I don't see any gaps. ARLP. There you go. There's a inverse head and shoulders. So that one I like. ARLP. That had earnings this morning. Here's another one, RBTY, bottom right. It's gapping up here from a retest pattern. Power downtrend, but look, this was a new low reversal. And now it's gapping up to 100 bucks. 30-minute high put spread. Wouldn't touch it as a directional, but another put spread I do. Oh, look at this HIMS I have middle chart here. I guess Greg was talking and I just saw this going by the ticker. It's not earnings, I verified it, but look, that is a beautiful bottoming pattern. Now, remember I just told you about triple D? This one is ready. Why is it ready? Well, gap reversal, little red bar ignored, 3 sideways bars at the 200, 20 MA flattening out, and it's gapping up above 3 bars. So that I like as a directional and put spread. I have no idea what the news is, nor do I care. I mean, think about that. I said I don't know what the news is. Just come up with 5 hypothetical news events in your head. CEO got fired. They're buying a company. They lost a major contract. They're whatever. Just come up whatever news you want. Is that going to change the way you trade this gap? Answer is no. I mean, with one caveat, if it's gapping up like this on bad news, that's actually a plus. More plus for McGraw if he were here. It's a more plus. ROP, if it were gapping up here, then I'd say 30-minute high put spread idea, but it looks like it got smashed back down. Oprah gapping up 17, gap's too big. Peton got an upgrade. Yeah. I don't know, it's up too much now, so that's gapping up after up 5 bars. I mean, unless you could do a condor, but I doubt there's going to be any premium that far away. Lily, I think, got a downgrade. You know, this is what's called a bull island reversal. Nasty gap, 1 or more bars, and a big gap up, leaving a hole on the left and the right. So that this is an island. And so we call it a bull island because the gap's in the direction of the bull. So 876. No pattern, no interest. That's just gapping halfway into that. With nothing to do. A dash is buying a foreign competitor, and it's opening flat. So I have this as a put spread idea. NVIDIA, China's, however you say the company name, Hawaii, said they came out with a product that's going to compete with the NVIDIA chip. So we can check the usual suspects on semis, AMD, NVIDIA. I think I had TSM put spread. Yeah, I had TSM put spread in the weekend letter. Over Friday's high, put spread under Thursday's low. And now that it's gapping down, I like it better because it ain't going to trigger unless it's strong and negating the bear bad news. No, I did not, Rankin. It's moving, but the gap's too big. Look, gapping up 50 cents on a $3 stock is 15%. So it was a nice 15-minute breakout, but it's too extended now. All right, bull. This is Webull, which is a competitor of Hood. I'm going to set an alarm, just eyeball in there about 1870. But look, it was a recent IPO and it's filling the gap. Look, it's hard to see this one bar here. I got to fix my spacing. But look at that thing went to $75 and now it's back to the gap fill. So that's of interest to me if it can give me a potent reversal. What's this thing have? Earnings. Boom. Yes, it does. Doesn't have weeklies. Man, the $10 puts are, it's not a whole lot, but it's respectable. 20 by 35 cents. We're being $7 away. No earnings data. I mean, typically they don't do earnings after 2 weeks of an IPO. I'm gonna set a order out at 30 cents, go low offer. Hams we know about. All right, so these are just miscellaneous watch list items from the weekend. T2, beautiful 15-minute chart. It's too extended for a swing for me. But watch that on a pullback. Airbnb, I was going to give as a put spread, but there was a lot of patterns that I like. The earnings are like on 5-1. 5-1's a big day for some. But that's a put spread idea. Well, no, it has earnings. All right, G-Test alarm. Another 1, 2, 3. I do not have this as official, I don't believe. G-Test, I don't think so, no. But I like the 430. See, there's one right there that I would have given, but for earnings. So maybe day trade. All right, cat. Again, 430. See, that would have been a beautiful put spread. The 30-minute high. Look at the 15-minute chart. Looks fantastic. Oh yeah. You know what? Let's do the same. Yeah, my alarm went off and I forgot to mention it. And earnings 5-1. So yeah, that's a perfect decision, Alex. Thanks for bringing to my attention. Echo Alpha. 230. That's right now, 230.73. NMRK. Man, I got a lot of alarms. NMRK. 430. Stupid. But see, that's a nice little bottoming pattern. Echo Alpha. 5, 6, I think this was on your list, Alex. I put an alarm that just went off. It's a big old inverse head and shoulder. HII. I'm gonna be way behind on earnings. I mean, on alerts, which is usually the case on Mondays. CNM alarm. That's another 1, 2, 3. I forget whose watch list, but that's a big old bottoming pattern. Mr. Bill. Earnings 5A. Mr. Bill was in the weekend letter. J. Alarm, another 1, 2, 3. Put spread idea. There's too much resistance for a directional. All right, this RVTY bottom right, no interest. OIH alarm. Man, Qs are actually relative weakness here. Netflix tanking. Netflix nasty reversal on the 15. Same with Microsoft and Meta, all the things selling off other than our Tesla. All right, bottoming pattern. I would have put this in the weekend letter, OIH put spread, but the stupid spreads were asinine. But let's take another look at it. Be way behind here. All right, so RVTY, forget about it. HIMS, I said 5-minute high. It's coming in. If somebody wants to check the premium for me, or I'll do it. 27, 23 HIMS. LYV alarm. 27. Uh, 27, 24 is 32. All right, so that's not going to trigger. LYV alarm. But that's an early alarm, I think. So that's a continuation breakout. Glob. Glob is triggering. I think as Qs are coming in. All right, Glob is a long 120 spot 12. Yeah, I don't know. I got mixed feelings about him. I'm just gonna let it ride, but I wouldn't add unless you got a continuation bar. Net. I don't know. It's not my type of setup. All right. All right. Rocket Lab. Let's move stop break even. Rocket Lab. Hey, Sam, I got a question for you. Wow, AD line's rocking at 1200. Sam, do you know who the CEO of Rocket Lab is? Rocket Man. Jeez, that was such an easy one. Rocket Man. That's right. That's what Trump called him. Hey, Tom. Man. Our Pelletier's coming in here. I think we gotta tighten up the stuff.